So when did I start getting so moody, and what happened to all of my energy? I get this question asked a lot of my clients, and I can definitely relate because I've been there. All of a sudden, a few years ago, I was starting to feel more anxiety, a little depression. My sleep was definitely all over the place, low libido, and my favorite, panic attacks. Over the last several years, I have spent my life really dedicated to understanding what happens to a woman's body and why didn't I know about this? I learned that starting at 35, many women really start entering this menopausal transition. We all think, oh, late 40s, early 50s, bam, we just hit menopause. Actually, no. This transition could take anywhere between 5 to 12 years. Kind of scary, but absolutely manageable is what I have now learned. For me, the anxiety and the panic attacks were probably one of the biggest, most notable symptoms. And I hate to say it, but I really did suffer. In 2019, I spent almost every day for maybe 4, 5, 6 months having a panic attack. My job was very stressful at the time. I was very overwhelmed, and I honestly didn't know where to turn in order to manage the stress. But I also didn't know that a lot of the lifestyle choices I was making in order to manage and mitigate that stress were only contributing to my body's inability to really manage the stress, along with the fact that my hormones as a woman are naturally declining as part of the very natural menopausal transition. So, things I wish I knew. I wish I knew that my sex hormones had a lot to do with my feelings, my emotions, my ability to self-regulate stress, to calm down, and to balance my moods. During this transition, our hormones are really shifting. And so we're not getting the usual support that they provide to neurotransmitters like serotonin, hormones like oxytocin that boost mood, that calm our brains, our minds, that calm our bodies. Had I known that, I may have decided to take steps sooner to manage the stress instead of what I did, which was pretty much totally accept the work stress and blame myself for not being able to manage, which is not the right thing to do. The other thing I wish I knew was nutrition and how much I needed that to support my body when it comes to stress. And I see this with my clients a lot now too, how undernourished we are. I mean, I wasn't eating enough, which means I wasn't getting enough protein. And protein we consume for the amino acids. And do you know what is built by amino acids? Those neurotransmitters we talked about. And they're so important for our brains and our moods. So I really wish that I had eaten. But honestly, I was so stressed that I didn't realize what I was doing was detrimental. And number 3, I wished I learned how to say no. It turns out that so many of my fundamental beliefs that I actually never agreed to as a child were really coming up during this stressful event. And you know what's so funny about stress and what kind of makes it so insidious is that the one thing that you're triggered by in a particular moment, that stressful thing that's happening right now, could bring up so many past stressors that you never even thought would resurface in that particular moment. And that's definitely what happened to me. And looking back, while it was painful, in many ways I'm glad because it did force me to really look at long-held beliefs and challenge what I thought was my identity, what I thought as a productive human being. That is my value. And it turns out that is completely wrong. And I know talking about that when it comes to building a health program seems a little vague, but when I was able to step back and really recognize that my value did not reside in how much I was able to produce, I was able to give myself the time and the energy to nourish myself, to heal, to step away. So this is some of the stuff that comes up in my coaching program because unfortunately this experience isn't rare. And I wish I could say that I knew all these things and I would do everything differently, but hindsight is always 20. Am I right? In the meantime, I've spent years studying what happened to me. So right now I really focus on making sure that I am nourished every day. This is something that I work with on my clients, and we really take a step back and we look at what stressors are in our lives. And then we say, what can we take away? What can we add? Sometimes. 9 out of 10 times I like to take away things. But there are so many external stressors that are inhibiting our ability. And again, amidst the decline in hormones. So these are just some things that I talk with my clients about. I hope this has been helpful. Until next time.